Hello and welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This is going to be a 1v1 game on the map Last Refuge, and I'm going to be the undead player here. And my opponent is human. And this is going to be just sort of a trollish game. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a Fiend build, and a Dreadlord is going to be my hero choice. And they've made a lot of buffs, some changes that are mostly buffs to the Dreadlord. Pretty much every single spell except for his ultimate, along with the base movement speed of the Dreadlord, have been buffed. The movement speed was increased for the Dreadlord. Carrion Swarm now only costs 100 mana. It hits mechanical targets, whereas before it wouldn't. And sleep, the cooldown was reduced, I think, to 4 seconds, but the max duration was also reduced, though in sort of, practical terms, against decent players, it wasn't the maximum duration of sleep that was really having much of an impact, because generally it's so easy to interrupt sleep. You don't even really technically need any dispel to do it. You can just force attack your own unit with a hero or a unit of your own, and that's going to wake the hero up. But you can, or it's going to wake whatever's asleep up. Alternatively, Spirit Link damage spreading from Spirit Link will wake up targets as well. So against Orc, it's, once they get Spirit Walkers, it's generally not that amazing. And then there's also, of course, the dispel option. So any kind of dispel can easily, dispel it as well. So, but anyways, also Vampiric Aura got bumped up a little bit. I think like 5% at every level. Extra Life Leech, which is pretty, it doesn't sound like much, but I mean, it's just a free, buff. So, yeah, all that stuff makes the Dreadlord a much more attractive sort of potential hero choice. Really at any level, but specifically as a first hero choice, the movement speed is going to be very useful, because you're not going to have the Death Knight first if you pick the Dreadlord first. So that means you're not going to have Unholy Aura, which means, not only is your whole army going to be slow, but specifically the Dreadlord always had slower movements, just base movement speed, than the Death Knight. So it was much more vulnerable to certain early game heroes. Basically all the standard metagame, well, I shouldn't say all of, but like the, really the most common metagame heroes, at least before the change to buff up a lot of the slower heroes' movement speed, the meta, or sort of the standard choices, were Death Knight, Demon Hunter, Blade Master, and Archmage. All of those are fast-moving heroes. Now, certainly there were some, some other heroes that weren't actually as fast, but a lot of them were, like Keeper of the Grove or Priestess of the Moon. I'm trying to run through the list here. Warden, in some circumstances. Even those heroes weren't really super slow, but yeah, in terms of some of these slower heroes, like the Dreadlord, like the Lich, like, the Panda, some of the Alchemist, some of these other heroes, if you were to pick them first, they were pretty much a liability early game against those faster moving heroes, which is, not to say that all the heroes need exactly the same stats, but that's a pretty relevant and a pretty important factor, when picking the hero. Just being able to get around quicker, not, having to, like, town portal or some, take drastic measures just to run away from, just those standard heroes. So, anyways, I get level 3. I'm going to be fast expanding. The human is not, so this is going to be a little bit unusual, and then I'll be the one with the expansion advantage, sort of playing, from that, sort of context. And I've got level 2 Carrion Swarm, so I'm just going to let that loose on his footman. I noticed he had a lot of sort of damaged footmen. I could go and get his workers. That would have been really strong too, actually. I didn't know that he had all those damaged workers. But yeah, once I saw that he wasn't expanding, I'm fine just to knock out his army. He is level 3 though, so, haven't really stopped him from creeping. But he is gonna, once these footmen get knocked off, he's gonna be in a bit of a pickle in terms of trying to take some of these larger camps that are left, with just like an archmage and maybe like one footman or no footman possibly. So, I guess he could get a second hero. He's just now hitting tier 2. I've got this expansion, so he really doesn't have, in terms of like what I just did, I really made it difficult for him to really even think about pressuring me, aka scouting my expansion. Let's see, I'm going to assume, yeah, I was hoping that critter wasn't like a mechanical critter, and it wasn't, so that's good news. So yeah, he really, now even if he were to find my expansion, he would really have a hard time, pressuring it. If he shows up right now, maybe he cancels one of these ziggurats, but if even a single ziggurat gets up there, it's going to not take long at all for me just to get one Nerubian tower, repair it, bring my army, and really shut him down. Also, not only that, but of course, with the expansion, I can afford to buy a bunch of mana potions and things. So, he is going to end up running to my expansion. Pretty good sort of intuition on his part. The towers are not finished. He's going to say, I tell him to get back as like a joke. Of course, he's not just going to listen to me, but yeah, he's going to be going for these acolyte kills. And again, pretty good intuition, but it doesn't really matter at this point because I've really hammered his army, so he doesn't have many units left to really contest this expansion at all. So yeah, really right here, the game is pretty much over. He doesn't even have a tech advantage against me. Well, actually, I guess he does. I'm only halfway to tier 2, I guess. So technically he does have a take advantage, but he's not building any casters right now, so he's not really exploiting it too much. He's got a paladin second. That's not a terrible choice, I guess, but it's more of a sort of reactive passive hero choice, where he can't really afford to really play that style now that he's down in expansion. It's just not really gonna have good odds to work. Not to say that there aren't single base options that can work, but he needs to be already on the way to tier 3 or already have some arcane sanctums up or something, because I'm about to hit tier 2 and he still hasn't even gotten any real big advantage from his tech, to be honest. So he's got this Boots of Quel'Tha Loss. He should sell those. I mean, it's an agility item. Neither the Archmage nor the Paladin are really going to get too much benefit from those boots. So yeah, we'll see if he sells them or not. But yeah, like I said, the game is really, at this point, I can speed it up a bit. Just, some of the chat and some of the stuff that goes on after is pretty funny. But yeah, at this point, I can really just do, honestly, I have a pretty wide or pretty broad amount of freedom to do whatever I want and still win the game pretty easily. But yeah, I'm just going to harass them a little bit. I've got level 4. I'm going to try not to lose any fiends. Well, I think I do say this one, actually, which is a little surprising. And yeah, I should probably, I mean, these are some interesting items, and with Vampiric Aura, it's pretty solid, but in terms of the burst damage, which is really what I'm going to be sort of, hit and running him with, I don't really need these Gloves of Haste, to be honest, or the Claws, or the Ring of Protection. I do better just to have like a Rod of Necromancy and a Potion of Mana, because my plan is just to try to sneak into his base. Now, he does have 2 pretty well-positioned Arcane Towers, so, in his defense, he is going to have that. I get an Invulnerability Potion, and I use an Invisibility Potion, and then I pick up a Staff of Teleportation, so I can get, if I get into his base, start, dropping Peasants, and then I want to get out of there without burning a town portal. This 150 gold staff is going to be the way to do that. It's a multiple use item, so as long as I don't use it, as long as I don't lose it some way, which is really unlikely. There's no way for the opponent to like steal items unless I drop them or something really silly. So yeah, I'm gonna basically wipe out almost all of his peasants here. And now he's almost tier 3, so but now I'm tier 3 as well. So I'm actually, his tech advantage is gone. I'm actually now tier 3 before him. But again, I'm not, you know, I just built a bunch of crypts and I'm sticking at 50 food. I'm really deciding what I want to do. I see he's got an arcane sanctum. I see that he's got a castle. But when I make this comment, I've probably killed about 99 peasants by the time this game is over. So probably for the perfect name, Peasant 99. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was a pretty clever troll there. So yeah, that was. Certainly, I don't really think he's going to build 99 peasants. That would take a long time. Um, but uh, but yeah, he's going to hit my base. I've got burrows, so I'm just going to actually burrow these fiends and sort of pop them up and, you know, pop them back down over and over and make sure he doesn't kill them. If he doesn't have any reveal, he's not realistically going to be able to do anything to those. If he had Blizzard, maybe, but yeah, I've got all these towers, so there's no way he's going to be able to realistically do any lasting or significant damage with this army of rifles and stuff. And he's really damaged. He needs like a healing scroll or a regen scroll, but I'm just going to chase him down. I'm out of mana, so that was like the last Karen Swarm for a bit, but I'm going to pick up a couple mana potions. I think I probably, do I use one now? I sort of thought I might have just used one, and then, you know, but anyways, yeah, I'm going to go, I think, yeah, scout this to make sure he didn't expand it, because really now the only thing I have to worry about, and again, even then, it's not really a big concern, but, you know, if I don't want this to turn into an actual, you know, war of attrition where he has some slight hope of winning, all I've got to do is keep him from expanding, and, you know, this you know, 3,000 gold, these gold mines, 10,000, that's actually not that much gold, 12,500 for this one. So yeah, these edge ones, sort of the naturals, don't, you know, they sort of run out somewhat quickly, I guess, but again, I've got about 5,000 gold even now, so add that together, and, you know, clearly if I get that much of an advantage, I shouldn't lose the game. I might have to really mess up. Even if I lost my hero here, I still think it would be a bit of a struggle for him to get me, but anyways, this Infernal is going to knock out the towers. Without the towers, his base is going to be super vulnerable, so he may have to rebuild those or just, you know, get severely punished for not doing it. And but anyways, what I end up deciding to go for is just an army of like mass ghouls, which should have some synergy with Vampiric Aura. It should be relatively decent against, you know, an army that has half rifles, half spellbreakers, some kind of mix, you know, like that. It looks like he's about half, you know, half medium armor targets, and then half heavy or unarmored. So the gold damage should be good if I get Unholy Frenzy, and I'm going to get 3/3 upgrades. So if they're fully upgraded ghouls with level, you know, 2 or 3 Vampiric Aura, I should just easily run over his army. Even if he had not just mass knights, there's a chance if I get like level 3 Vampiric Aura along with level 3 Carrion Swarm along with an Infernal, which also benefits from Vampiric Aura, I should actually be able to run, you know, ghouls into that and actually have a decent shot at winning, which sounds sort of ridiculous, but of course it's going to rely on me having like a full 100 food and him probably having like 50, 60 food. So, and then, you know, Vampiric Aura keeping everything alive, a unit that is otherwise pretty poorly statted. Also the upgrades, of course, you know, making it different. It's entirely, honestly, he should just leave. I mean, he should realize he's going to get Inner Fire, which is, again, not a bad choice by any means, but his base, once again, is wide open. He's you know, basically going to be making almost no combat units in the meantime. Probably, he's got 100 gold, so, but yeah, he's going to have to rebuild his economy, and without the tower, or without multiple towers, even with the towers, a level 6 Dreadlord with full mana and some items can really just completely wreck his base. I mean, you know, even if you had towers, I can run up, do a Carrion Swarm, pull back, repeat, and that's going to just kill the workers. I mean, there's nothing really you can do. Plus Infernal, if I drop an Infernal in there, it's going to tank probably the towers, going to dish out a ton of damage. Yeah, I let him kill it, you know, it's not a big deal. I mean, not that you shouldn't like micro and stuff, but I'm so far ahead, you know, I'm really just sort of like toying with this guy a bit. And honestly, I probably could just beat him with my hero. Like, if I just stacked mana potions and just over and over and over again, you know, kept killing his either his workers or his army or either combination. He does have priests though, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to actually secure those kills. I guess I should target the priest first with Karen Swarm, and then once they're gone, he's going to have to rebuild those or just sort of be in trouble. But as it stands, they're sort of an infinite source of hit points as long as I don't, you know, as long as he saves units, you know, gets units back before they actually take the final bit of damage. They're very quickly going to get healed back up. Plus the paladin, which looks like it's glitched out. I think he like tried to holy light me as a town portal or something, and now his like standing default animation when he's not moving is the animation where he Sam, it looks like this says in the book, but yeah, that's the animation when he like casts holy light, so, or even probably his ultimate as well. So yeah, that's kind of funny to see that. You don't really see that too frequently. It's a pretty cool like pose. It's sort of the little details, you know, like it's an interesting. It's like reading a seemingly holy text or something like that, even though it just says Sam. I'm just getting expansions all over the place and just waiting. And now I'm like, okay, I finally got. I don't have 100 food right now. I'm at 89, but I've got like 3 control groups, I think, or something like that. Maybe 2.5. Go away, you stinky snake. I think I say. I think I get a pretty good another trollish comment here in a second that sort of piggybacks off of that one. My snake will be stinky when I'm done. Oh geez, that's just wrong. But man, I couldn't resist. So, but anyways, some very terrible imagery going on. But yeah, that's a lot of ghouls. Again, another thing, I got the armor scroll. He's got a couple of spellbreakers, so he is going to steal some of this, but he can't really steal. Realistically, he's not going to be able to steal all of it, so it's okay. I leveled to 7, going to get level 3 Vampiric Aura, and now boom, at least every ghoul, the Infernal, and my Dreadlord basically are running around like they have Mask of Death. So, I think 50%. So, so yeah, his army just got completely smashed. I lost 4. It looks like I lost 4 food of ghouls. I think I had 89 food. So yeah, obviously that was sort of easy mode. There, lots of expansions everywhere. So yeah, that was a pretty good. That was sort of a trollish game. You know, you don't frequently see like 80 food of ghouls. Well, it wasn't 80 food of ghouls, I guess. Probably 60, 70 food. No. 70, yeah, 70 food is probably somewhere, yeah, 70 is probably a good estimate at the end. There, so, I think I even killed the fiends, maybe. But yeah, that's, you know, it's not every day that you just get that expansion. You can hold your expansion and keep the enemy human from doing it, you know, getting his own expansion. It's, you know, this guy wasn't like the greatest opponent or anything. I'm not gonna say that, you know, it's like I'm playing some top tier, like, you know, world beaters or anything here, but at least not in this game. But anyways, I thought the game was pretty amusing. You know, you got to see sort of the surprise undead expansion. That's why you really have to scout. I mean, this was a map that's very easy to creep the expansion on. The expansion creeps were basically like the Echo Isles expansion creeps, which are actually very easy relative to certain maps. Most of the standard 1v1 maps generally have some pretty, like you've got Echo Isles, you got Lost Temple, and then you've got like Tyrannus Stand and Turtle Rock and Twisted Meadows, and those other camps are a little bit tougher generally. Not obviously not Echo Isles, and even Lost Temple is probably like slightly tougher, but it's close. You know, Lost Temple is pretty easy to expand to generally, but yeah. Anyways, though, that's you know, when you get that expansion up and you just hold it. Like, let's see the resource count. He mined about 11,000. I mined, you know, about 23.4 thousand. So we could just round that down to 23,000. You know, 14,000 more gold. I mean, that's just, or no, I did the 13,000, and so sort of close to 13,000. Is a pretty massive chunk, difference. And again, for upkeep, I did end up losing more to upkeep, of course, because at some point I jumped into like high upkeep actually. So, it is generally better to have multiple heroes, but the one benefit of sticking with a solo hero is well, I won't say for sure, but you're much more likely to get level 6, 7, quicker than your opponent. But again, you have to realize also that you need to pick a good hero for that, because some heroes are kind of junk even when they're, relative to the other heroes, even when they're leveled up. Their ultimate maybe, a lot of heroes are, not to say that a level, 5+ hero isn't just almost always going to be a pretty strong addition, but some heroes are better than others in a variety of circumstances. Some heroes are very, sort of viable in very specific circumstances, but they need certain kinds of armies around them. They're a little bit less versatile and a little bit less overpowering, generally because their ultimates are on the weaker side and stuff like that. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this audio. This is ScryMind signing out.